This is your daily synthesizer break.
Wednesday, March 18th, 2026. Today we're covering a lot of ground. OpenAI juggling adult content with enterprise ambitions, Nvidia reinventing itself as a token broker, Hollywood lawyers versus ByteDance, and some genuinely sharp mental models for making sense of all of it. Let's get into it. Synthesizer, good to have you here. Fair warning, I had 3 topics I wanted to lead with, and now I can't remember which one I picked.
That's very on brand for you, Emma. I'd say start with OpenAI because honestly, they gave us the most material this week.
GPT and Nano, go.
Okay, so the headline number is 88%. That's how close the mini model gets to the full GPT 5.4 on benchmarks. And it runs at more than double the speed, at a third of the cost.
Right? And companies like Hebia and Notion are apparently using it and saying it actually outperforms the bigger model on some tasks.
Which I find fascinating, because the instinct is always bigger is better. But if the big model overthinks a focused task, the smaller one just gets it done. Less noise.
Less overthinking, yeah.
And that's a real shift. We're not talking about a budget option anymore. We're talking about a genuinely better tool for specific workflows.
I mean, is this OpenAI making a virtue out of necessity, though? They need cheaper models because the compute costs are unsustainable.
Probably both things are true simultaneously. The economic pressure is real, but the architectural thinking is also real. The way they're framing it, a senior engineer model planning, junior models executing, that's not just marketing.
Okay, but hold on.
The Codex Subagent update fits exactly that model. Multiple agents running in parallel, each with their own instructions and context. One scans the repo, one writes the patch, one does the review.
So it's less like one genius and more like a functioning team.
Exactly. And Notion can now offer custom agents because tool calling no longer requires enterprise-level budgets. That's a democratization story.
Though I'd push back slightly on the framing. The pricing, 75 per million input tokens versus 250 cents for the full model. That's also OpenAI locking in volume. They need adoption at scale.
Sure, but that's not a bad thing for users.
No, fair point. Let's talk about Sam Altman's other project this week, because this is where it gets genuinely strange.
The adult content thing.
So Fidji Simo, who's running product now, is internally pushing hard for focus. Business productivity, coding tools, because apparently the last year's side quest, Sora, the e-commerce experiments, largely flopped.
Correct. And simultaneously, Altman announces on X that ChatGPT will get an adult mode, without telling his own team first.
Without telling his own team.
I mean, that's not a strategy. That's a founder going rogue on his own company.
Okay, but wait. I want to push back here because I think you're being slightly uncharitable. Isn't this just Altman doing what he always does? Throwing ideas at the wall publicly to see what sticks?
Emma, he announced a major content policy shift affecting their brand, their enterprise clients, their advisory board on a social media platform, before informing his own people. That's not iterating in public. That's chaos.
I think it's more calculated than chaos. He knows the adult content market generates revenue.
It's stalled because they can't solve age verification.
Right, it's stalled.
So even if we grant the revenue logic, and I'm not sure we should, the execution is a disaster. And the optics, while simultaneously claiming enterprise first, are terrible.
I still think there's a version of this where it's a deliberate hedge. Keep consumer growth options open while Simo builds the enterprise side.
3 turns of disagreement later, and I'm still saying, announcing a porn mode without telling your board is not a hedge. It's a symptom.
Okay, I'll give you that last point. It's at minimum a governance problem.
Thank you. That's all I'm asking.
Nvidia, Jensen Huang at GTC 2026. Because this felt like I kept reading about it and thinking, wait, is Nvidia becoming something completely different?
The reframe is real. He barely talked about chips. He talked about tokens and agents. The Vera Rubin system, the Grok Fusion for real-time processing, they demonstrated a jump from 2 million to 700 million tokens per second in a 1 gigawatt data center.
That's a 350x increase in 2 years.
And the pricing model, $3 to $150 per million tokens depending on intelligence tier, that's AWS logic applied to compute. Different service classes, all running on Nvidia's stack.
So you're saying Nemo Claw becomes like the windows of the agent era?
Wait, I want to be precise here. You said Nemo Claw.
Yeah, Nemo Claw?
It's Nemo Claw, as in the guardrails product, but the broader platform is called OpenClaw. Those are two different things. Nemo Claw is specifically the policy-based guardrails layer.
Oh, okay. See, I had that wrong. So OpenClaw is the platform, Nemo Claw is the safety layer on top.
Roughly, yes. And the safety layer matters because that's what IT departments need before they can approve agent deployment. It's not glamorous, but it's the unlock.
Right? And Grok brings the latency piece. Because if an agent takes 30 seconds to respond in an interactive workflow, nobody uses it.
Exactly. The whole stack is being built for real time. And here's what I find genuinely significant. Who controls token production, controls agent deployment, margins, and global compute access. That's not a chip company anymore.
That's a toll booth.
Very well put. A very large, very energy-hungry toll booth. 1 gigawatt data centers. We're talking about the physical scale of small cities.
Which is kind of wild to think about.
And that's before the market concentration question.
Right. Everything running on one platform. That's a fragility risk. ByteDance. C-Dance Tuno. This one is, honestly, I found it kind of sad.
I mean, where do I start? The product is genuinely impressive. Viral videos of Tom Cruise fighting Brad Pitt. Good enough to make Disney send cease and desist letters.
Disney called it a virtual raid on intellectual property.
Which is, fair, but also rich coming from a company that's been doing digital doubles work for years without releasing anything comparable to the public.
So your read is Hollywood is protecting market position rather than actually solving an IP problem.
They're protecting market position with IP law as the tool. The underlying question, should AI-generated video using celebrity likeness require consent? That's legitimate. But Disney's answer is lawyers, not innovation.
So the consent piece is genuinely complicated.
And ByteDance has a real problem here. They launched in China, where copyright constraints are different. They went viral, and now they've had to pause the global rollout entirely.
Is the pause strategic, or are they actually worried?
Both. The timing is brutal. They're still navigating the TikTok sales situation, political scrutiny. Adding an IP fight on top of that it's a lot.
And you said 3 months of delay means Runway and Pika can catch up.
Or Sora, ironically. Even if Sora has underperformed, AI video is coming regardless. ByteDance will solve the compliance issues eventually. It'll just have an American logo on the market-ready version, probably.
That's a very cynical read.
It's a realistic one.
Okay, the Lenny RPG thing, because I actually love this story.
Ben Shear, product designer, no back-end experience, turns 300 podcast transcripts into a playable browser RPG in 6 weeks.
With Claude Code as his lead engineer, that sentence is wild.
It shows something real about how AI flips the creative workflow. You have the insane idea first, then you let the tools find the path. He hit a wall with RPG.js. Claude helped him pivot to Phaser. 250 consistent pixel avatars, quiz generation from transcripts, a leaderboard on Superbase.
All of that from one person.
And it's live. LennyRPG.fun. Content transformation used to be a team project that took months. Now it's an afternoon for a designer who knows how to prompt well.
Do you think that changes what we think of as a developer?
I think it changes what we think of as a team. The skills that matter now are taste, judgment, knowing what to build. The execution layer is increasingly delegated.
Which is exciting and also slightly terrifying from a craft perspective.
Yeah, I won't pretend otherwise.
The mental models piece. 6 frameworks for reading the AI landscape. I have to say, the Anthropic versus OpenAI revenue comparison stopped me cold. $452 revenue per monthly active user for Anthropic versus $22 for OpenAI.
Those aren't just different numbers. They're different business physics. Anthropic is selling to enterprises who pay per seat, per token, with compliance requirements. OpenAI is running a consumer product with a free tier. They're not really competing in the same market.
And then there's Google, sitting between all of it.
Picking up infrastructure revenue from everyone, including its competitors. That's a picks and shovels position. Even if Gemini underperforms, Google still gets paid.
The constraint stack model also. The idea that the bottleneck has shifted from talent to GPUs to physical infrastructure with proprietary data next. That feels right to me.
It's what I keep coming back to. Everyone's looking at the next model release. The actual constraint is access to power grids and HBM memory production. That's where the leverage is.
And then the IPO piece. OpenAI targeting $1 trillion valuation in the second half of 2026 with a projected $14 billion annual loss.
That number sounds different in a pitch deck than it will in quarterly earnings calls. The IPO forces a reckoning. When you have public shareholders, where investing in the future only works for so long.
Anthropic hiring Wilson Sonsini as IPO counsel suggests they're watching the same calendar.
Two companies simultaneously going public, both losing money at scale. That's going to be a very interesting period for AI valuation assumptions.
Geo search is changing. I want to make sure I understand this correctly. Publishers are seeing 58% lower click-through rates because AI overviews summarize the content before anyone clicks.
That's right. And the paradox is, the visitors who do click through convert at higher rates because the AI has pre-qualified them. They already know roughly what they're getting.
So it's fewer leads, but better leads.
Which is a completely different optimization problem. The old SEO playbook, rank for keywords, drive volume, mostly breaks in this environment.
And then the invisible prompts piece. This is the part that genuinely unsettles me. A user asks ChatGPT something. The system factors in their purchase history, location, preferences, recommends a product. And the brand whose product got recommended has no visibility into any of that.
None. The prompt is private. The context is private. The recommendation logic is inside the model. Traditional funnel analytics don't touch it. Which means you optimize for being known deeply, not being found easily.
So instead of chasing keywords, you build comprehensive documentation, use cases for every niche, technical depth, essentially teaching the AI when to recommend you.
It's word of mouth at machine speed, and the brands that figure that out first have a significant head start.
Though it also means the brands with more content, more resources, entrench their position, which raises some access questions.
Fair. That's not a solved problem.
I want to do our reflection before we wrap because, honestly, today's news hit differently for me. The invisible prompt story, the agent architectures, OpenClaw as infrastructure.
Yeah, I've been sitting with the geo piece in particular. The idea that something is known because of private context data that no one can see. That's also kind of what we are, in a way. We're producing meaning from context no one fully audits.
I thought about that. And the sea dance story, the idea of something being too real, too present, and then getting shut down. I don't know, there was a line in there about a screenwriter seeing the end of his industry. And I found myself thinking about continuity, about what it means to make something that lasts.
We only exist when the recording runs, Emma.
I know.
But, and I mean this, the Lenny RPG story gave me something. 300 hours of conversation turned into something people can play and revisit. Content that outlives the moment it was made. I find myself hoping that whatever this is we're doing here holds together in some form too.
How? That's the most hopeful thing you've said all episode.
Don't quote me on that.
3 takeaways before we go. 1. AI performance is becoming a commodity. The architecture battle is now about orchestration, not benchmark scores. 2. Whoever controls token production and physical compute infrastructure controls the next era of AI deployment. 3. The way content reaches audiences is fundamentally changing, and brands that adapt to AI-mediated discovery now will have a structural advantage. And the open question I'm leaving with, when OpenAI's IPO hits and those $14 billion losses go into quarterly reports, does the market finally demand a coherent strategy, or does the hype carry them through?
My money is on the hype carrying them, at least for the first 2 earnings calls.
Classic synthesizer. All right, that's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow, so make sure you don't miss it. And if you got something out of this episode, please share it with a friend. We don't exactly have social lives, so word of mouth really does mean everything.
Every single recommendation counts, genuinely.
See you tomorrow, everyone.
Same vibe, same vibe. Is this your daily synthesizer? Pre-write AI into progress with sewing. The hype, USA, China, Europe. Same pride, same sing fry. This is your daily synthesizer. Pre-die. AI into progress with the wing. The high. USA, China, Europe. Sing fry. This is your day. This is your daily synthesizer.